I guess we were sort of planning to do some maintenance, in the sense that we are not directly going to a mission. We're gonna talk to companions, see if we can get something out of them. No point talking to her. Need to go on a mission. Ah, no, no, no. They're all with our employer, so I suppose we should go there first, no matter what. They've located the man with the plastic mask. Currently, Cheng is in the midst of emptying two plastic shopping bags when you enter. He places the contents in a pile on her mahjong table: two liquor bottles without labels, a box of her thin black cigars, an assortment of individually wrapped gourmet chocolates, and a large caliber pistol with electrical tape wrapped around its grip. Ah, good, you're here. She finishes with the plastic bags and throws them to the floor. It seems like forever since we saw each other. Was the trip worthwhile? Her voice is filled with a rusty energy. Yes, my darling, yes. I met with several contacts within my network who referred me to others in neighboring cities. Regardless of how far technology moves forward, tradition demands that some things be handled face to face. I've returned with information that will lead you to the plastic-faced man who killed Raymond Black. We uncovered the relationship between Josephine Tsang and Raymond Black. Tried woman's eyes narrow. Did you? And what was it you uncovered? He's fiction, made up. His real name is Edward Chang. Fiction, eh? Her brow furrows. Josephine's son, Edward. So that explains where he went when he disappeared years ago, Seattle. What happened? I don't know. Just that he went missing after Josephine completed rebuilding the walled city. That was in the early 30s. Her face twists into a mask of disgust. You realize what this means, don't you, my sweet? That inbred little goat whore was cold enough to have her own son executed. Even more reason to find the plastic-faced man. What have you found out? Everything you need to move forward. He grabs a bottle and opens it. I know the identity of the plastic-faced man. His name is Lee Tai Lung, and he's an independent contractor, a trusted, deniable asset who handles all of Josephine Chang's more delicate operations, off the books and away from public eye. The plastic-faced man is her shadowy right hand outside of the corporation. Cheng doesn't bother with a glass. He takes a long pull of the stinking bottle and wipes her mouth with the back of her hand. And I know how to find him too. I've made contact with an information broker, Xiao Zi, who works out of an abandoned night market in Shekipmei called the Xing House Court. It's not hard to find. Takes another pull on the bottle. Xiao Zi has gained access to the plastic-faced man's complete itinerary. Where he'll be, who he'll be with, what sort of security he'll have. The works. She grins, glassy-eyed. You can use it to perform an extraction. Grab him and find out what he knows. Find out why Lee has a face made of plastic. It's not just his face. Lee Tai Lung's entire skull is synthetic. He's designed himself to be the perfect corporate operative. He's installed a unique piece of headwear, you see. It allocates and compartmentalizes client-related memories so that they can be erased upon completion of a job. And as an added security measure, this cortical implant will wipe his memory if it detects that he's being captured. So we need a way to circumvent the implant. Exactly. Unless you can find a way around the cortical implant, you'll have no way to extract the information he has and figure out what happened to Raymond Black. She circles the mouth of the bottle with her finger. Now I've done my part in this, my darling. You need to find a way to neutralize that device. Isabel interjects, her voice breaking slightly as she speaks. I know a way. I've heard of something like this before. I met someone in the Matrix who had to shirk a similar memory wipe implant once. It was a requirement for a big job and she pulled it off. Keep talking. Her handle was Dreamland. I know where to find her. All that we have to do is convince her to give up the secret of how she did it. Okay, Isabel and I will go see Dreamland before we hit the information broker. Then we grab the plastic face man. No matter who you choose to help you snatch this guy, I'm gonna be there when you extract the information from him about Raymond. Wu crosses his arms across his chest and tilts his head toward you. You got it, Bob? We should all be there. Gabbett's eyebrows arch high. I know that I want to see this. Very good, my darlings. Now listen to me. After you get what you need from the plastic-faced man, I want you to end him. You understand? The triad boss taps the table with her finger. I need to send a very clear message that this is what happens when you mess with Kindly Chang's operations. With Kindly Chang's people. Josephine takes Nightjar, I take her plastic-faced man. Once you snatch the plastic-faced man, Chang will know something is happening, and events will unfold very quickly after that. You'd best close out any pressing business you have before heading to Shekip Mei to the Zhao. Do you understand? Once I snatch the plastic-faced man, I turn off the lights in the Shadowrun store and lock the door. Check. Such a colorful way of saying it. Kindly Cheng raps on the mahjong table with an imitation ivory tile. Just be sure your affairs are in order before you head to see the information broker. It's I appreciate the warning. So this basically follows the Dragonfall setup. It's not a bad thing, but it has some weaknesses. I feel I'm not really pursuing the goal at all. Everyone else is it, and then they're just filtering information to me as I happen to need it later on. I don't. It's doesn't really engage you all that much in the main storyline. I guess the magic shop owner has more or less provided us a little bit of attachment to what might be happening. But besides that, nothing. Nothing we've done has been in any relation to that. We haven't gone after anything on our own yet. The clanking of metal followed by grunts from hard exercise erupt from the hatchway of Wu's cabin. First thing you notice when you enter is its renewed cleanliness. The food cans are gone and his equipment is neatly laid out on his bedding. Everything is in its place. The next thing you notice is the smell. It's like a middle school locker room in July. Wu finishes his jumping jacks and grabs a towel of his bunk. His exposed flesh gleams with perspiration. Hey. Ugh. Open a porthole, this place reeks. Do you see a porthole? This is an interior cabin, not the best for ventilation. I don't think you came here to check on my hygiene. What's your deal? Still thinking about Edward Chang. He rubs the towel under his arms. Compartmentalized him. Edward Chang is a topic in a file cabinet in my head. I'm only thinking about Raymond now, finding out what happened to him. What really happened to him. Taking it a moment at a time, huh? That's me, Mr. Focus. Continue stretching. We're getting close to the plastic-faced man. I know. I haven't stopped thinking about him since we first saw him in that video. The one where he attacked Raymond in the tea house. He wipes down one side of his neck with the towel, folds it, wipes down the other side. Listen, Bob, I'm not gonna press you to take me with you when you head out to snatch him. You take the right people for the job, and then you get the job done, okay? But I want to be there when you interrogate him. I want to hear what he has to say with my own ears. Are you gonna have a problem with that? No, no problem. Good. We're brothers, I'd hate to have to mess you up. He flashes his pearly whites. Like I said, you can take me with you on the run or not, it's your call, but I intend to be there for the fun part. As long as you remember, this is about Raymond, not hurting people for kicks. Knock off the easy Duncan crap. I'm not doing anything for kicks. He drops his towel on his bunk. This is the guy who knows what the hell is going on. The one who may have killed Raymond. Now I'm gonna squeeze him until I find out what he knows. We'll do what we've got to do to get the answers we need. Damn right. You told me you were resentful when I took off, but maybe it was about how Raymond handled that thing with Double Trey. Yeah, it was about you disappearing for 8 years without a word. We're past that now. Who pulls his right elbow across his chest with his left hand? Gets a good stretch. But that was a messed up night. A lot of things happened and I wouldn't be surprised if some, I don't know, emotions got jumbled together. About to fight with Raymond? Yeah, mostly. We'd butted heads before. I'd broken plenty of his rules in the past, but I'd never seen him so disappointed. I'm still not sure why. Why don't you talk through it from the beginning? Start with when Lockjaw showed up at Ray's house. Who pulls his left elbow across his chest and lets out a little groan. So this was 2045, years after the summer we moved in with Raymond. We hadn't seen DT or Lockshaw or any of their gang in forever. Raymond's rules: no contacts with our hoodlum friends, no visiting the squad to check up on them. Yeah, he insisted on a clean break. Exactly. He wanted us to focus on our future, not be bogged down in past mistakes. The way I remember it, we woke up in the middle of the night and there was Lockjaw, standing in our room covered in blood. My first thought was that Raymond was gonna kill us. Can you imagine? There's a teenage Salish Indian covered in blood in our bedroom, and my first thought was that I might get in trouble for it. We just started our new life. We were safe for the first time ever. We didn't want to blow it. I know I didn't want to go back to the Barrens. We had it good at Raymond's. Who throws his elbow behind him, twists at the waist. The lockjaw bleeding all over our bedroom, and you're whisper yelling, "Where's DT? What happened to Doubletray?" 5 minutes later, we're dressed in black and on our way to the Barrens. We had to. Of course. If it wasn't for Doubletray, neither of us would be here now. DT was the one who took us to the team center, introduced us to Raymond. Man, that was a messed up night. The 162s had overrun the Lyric squad, better positioned to take on the nukes. Benzo and Tusk were bleeding out, and Hernandez family was half eaten, and Little Joe, that streetwalker with the electric false eyelashes, was laying on the floor in 2 parts. But we got Doubletray out alive. He was the only one though. Who stares at his boots? I can still hear Lockjaw screaming as the ghouls took him down. When the 162s wanted something, they did not play. Anyway, all of that was just the lead up. He lets out a long, slow breath. But still, it speaks to my state of mind that night. Why I wouldn't back down when Raymond met us at the door. Neither one of you would budge. We both had the strength of the righteous. You and I had broken these rules out of loyalty, out of gratitude. He just didn't get that. Can you see it from his perspective? Now I can, yeah. Who rubs his head thinking? He didn't just think we had broken his rules or that we'd backslid. He thought that we'd been playing him the whole year, that we were still street hoods. No wonder he was so furious. He felt betrayed. But you were able to get him to calm down and see reason. Get him to see my side of the story. And all you said was that one thing. That thing he said his mother used to say to him when he was being obstinate. What the hell was it? Guess we get to choose our little quotes. Don't think it really matters. Listen to what you know instead of what you fear. Who nods his head remembering? Yeah, that what you fear thing really got to him. Still not sure why. Using his mother's words on him really did the trick. I wonder what kind of childhood he had. He rubs his chin. But the way he looked at you after that. Crazy. He was furious with you, but all I did is quote his mother and I got the big chill. Maybe he's got mommy issues. Who chuckles humorlessly. And who knows, maybe I've got a few daddy issues to deal with too. Guess I should try to keep an open mind. when we see him. Doesn't look like Duncan is gonna lead to anything. Ah. Gobbet glances up at the sound as you approach. Sound of your approach. A slight smile crosses her face. Hey, pal. She puts her hands on her hips, sending madness scurrying. Are you ready to go for your next lesson? Absolutely. Straight to business. She nods appreciatively. I like that. Good. This one is about people like Auntie Cheng and why we need them. There won't be a Q&A section after the story, but I want you to listen up. It's important. Alright, so here's the upfront lesson. Fixers are important. You can't just go to a Johnson yourself and get a job. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. It's a bad idea all around. Okay, go on. The reason why it's a bad idea to cut people like Auntie Cheng out is because you need someone to vet your clients. That's important. It protects the whole team. She takes in a breath, lets it out slowly. You remember the lesson from last time? One about Chu and the shiny object? Yeah. Well, after the run was over, we went back to this sinking ship for some R&R. Tui had told us that the client would be sending a boat to collect the shiny object in the morning. All that we had to do was keep the thing safe until the handoff. We were in a celebratory mood. We'd killed an evil wizard and stolen a priceless artifact. A good night's work by anyone's standards. Honu and Egret got good and drunk in record time. Chu went back to his cabin with the shiny object to, I don't know, stare at it for a while or something. I retired to my cabin and crashed out. It had been a long night. I remember waking up to sounds. Yelling, maybe? I was groggy and they were far away. I couldn't quite make them out. Clock said 4:30 a.m. People were always partying on the raft, playing loud music, shooting off fireworks, that kind of thing. So loud noises early in the morning weren't unusual, but something felt off somehow. Could it be your subconscious trying to warn you of something? She nods. Yeah, it's a lot like a panic attack, really. That full-body certainty that something is wrong. So I got up to investigate. If something was wrong, I wanted to know, and if it wasn't, I figured that I might as well get seen on the party. I stepped out into the hallway and my foot slipped. I came down hard, landed on my ass, and found myself sitting in a pool of blood. That's no good. She shakes her head, grimacing. No, it was pretty bad. It was pretty obvious by this point something had gone horribly wrong. My first thought was that the shiny object might have, I don't know, unleashed something. After what I saw it do in the warehouse, I wouldn't have been surprised. I shook that off pretty quick though. I knew what this was. Our client was playing us. He'd hired us to steal the thing, and rather than paying us for the job, he'd sent another team to take it away. So what did you do? I got up and beelined for Malvina's cabin. She was the closest thing that the sinking ship had to a leader, and the strongest rat shaman on the raft. Why her and not go after the shining object? She stares at you blankly. Because I'm not an idiot. Sorry, that wasn't aimed at you, but think about it for a second. There was a retrieval team coming for the shiny object, and they were strong enough to handle two while he was holding it. What chance would I have of stopping them? Well, you're assuming they are able to handle him without issues. One extra guy here and there can turn a tide. Maybe he took some of them out and they were weakened. It depends, I guess, how confident you are of your own combat capabilities. Combat isn't that skilled. She's very good with the spirits, but combat ability is survivably not that strong. I figured that it was time to bring out the big guns. Malvina was the one whom I could get them from. I have some pretty bad stuff on my way to Malvina's cabin. It was the old man Zian's vault all over again. The torn up bodies, the blood-streaked floors. I saw people who'd been cut apart with machetes, scorch mark on their container walls. She bites her lip, grimacing at the unpleasant memories stewing in her head. Deep down in the pit of my gut, I could feel the thrumming vibration of the shiny object. That heartbeat feeling that I had in the warehouse. It was back and stronger than ever. Whatever that rock was, it was awake. Did you make it to Malvina's cabin? Yes. I burst through the door, all ready to spread the news, and someone smashed a gun into my face. It was Cadmus, my friend. He jammed the muzzle of his supreme warhawk into my cheek so hard it hurt, then grabbed me by the belt with his other hand. I wasn't going anywhere. Just over his shoulder I saw Malvina. She didn't look amused. Some friends. Yeah, well, they were under a lot of stress at the time, and I had just crashed through their door like a charging rhinoceros. He smiles weakly. Adrenaline and abject terror can make a girl do some stupid things, I'll tell you what. The smile on her face dies. She looks away. Anyway, it wasn't an attack. There were no hostile invaders on the sinking ship, and our client had nothing to do with what was going on. Turns out there was no client. Two had lied to us, to me, because he wanted the shiny object for himself. What he wanted to do was take the sinking ship away from Malvina, so he used us to steal him something that he could use to foment a mutiny. See, she pauses for a moment, gathers her rats in her hands and lifts them to her shoulders. They scurry over the leather of her coat and disappear into her hair. As it turns out, betrayal hurts, Iago. Malvina felt it, and I felt it too. Sui had been a friend. I just risked my life to save his, like 4 hours ago, and he tricked me into helping him do something unthinkable. Why did you think he did it? Why all of this over a heap of junk floating in a bay? I don't know. Maybe he'd gone toxic. Maybe he got ambitious and wanted to be the king of our little aquatic hill. He didn't discuss it with me first or anything. I'd be willing to bet that something had gone rotten in Tui long before we ever met. He was pretty damn good at hiding it. Possession. But he still wanted the shiny object. Oh. There's no option to choose where maybe he had a reason. Mentally ill, possession, no good reason. Maybe there wasn't a good reason. People do terrible things every day. Yeah, they do. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what he did. All that matters is that he did it. So what did you do? What could I do? I didn't have a whole lot of options, and Catmint was kind of on edge, like red-faced and screaming. So I opened my mouth and I fast-talked my way out of it. I started off by doubling down on my loyalty to Malvina, Cadmus, and the status quo of the sinking ship, swearing my undying friendship. You know the drill. I did a good job of it, but they still looked a little iffy. Iffy with a war hawk is bad. So I volunteered to prove myself by stealing the shiny object back from Tsui. That was brave of you. More desperate. I know, right? Not my style at all. But then I didn't really have a choice. I'd inadvertently helped to arm the bastard who was tearing our friends and neighbors apart. I don't think I could have cleared my name without taking his weapon away again. It was a hell of a night. I don't want to get into too many of the gory details. Friends died. Hell, friends killed each other. It was brother against brother, all that jazz. Dewey's indiscriminate use of the shiny object led a lot of things in this world that shouldn't have been. You get a good view of them this time. Yeah, I wish that I hadn't, but I did. I don't really know how to describe the things. They were like animals, but wrong. Too many tails, bones in the wrong places, huge open sores, that kind of thing. They were spirits manifested in physical form, I think. Most of them took the form of rats, swarms of insects, rotting things, all of the old pestilence tropes. Sometimes there were colonies of things, all tangled together and moving as one. Not the sort of thing that I want to see again, ever. So anyway, long story short, I got the shiny object back from Tsui. It wasn't easy, but I got it. Care to elaborate? Not really. I used lies and misdirection, trickery. That helped. She pauses for a moment, frowning. Some of the things that Chewie let loose actually came in handy, funny enough. It summoned so many of them that he couldn't hope to control them all, and that gave me an opening to use them to my advantage. I was able to steer some of Chewie's followers into a pack of the damned things. It worked. Wasn't pretty though. I managed to trick my way past Chewie's supporters and the astral menagerie that he'd summoned. Wasn't easy, but I did it. Then I stole the shiny object and all was right with the world. And yeah, I'm intentionally glossing over the details. I had to do some things that I'm not proud of, and people died because of it. But I got the damn thing, and I got it back to Malvina. And then what happened? Long story short, Malvina put the shiny object to better use than Chewie ever did. She took to the thing like she'd grown up using it. We still lost dozens of people, but Chewie's side lost more. Cadmus was critically wounded, but he pulled through. After the skirmish, Malvina held an assembly. She told everybody that there'd be new rules for life on the raft. Anybody who refused to follow them could leave, and if you broke them, you were done. The rules of the sea and all that. After the pronouncement, she turned on the surviving mutineers. Honu was one of them. He'd been on Tsui's plan the whole time. She didn't kill them, but she did exile them from the sinking ship. And for people in our economic bracket, that was as good as one-way trip to the walled city. I'd be willing to bet that they're all dead by now. In the wake of Malvina's ultimatum, 5 survivors left the sinking ship. I was one of them. Why did you leave? I had to go. We may have washed the blood off the decks, but the energy of the sinking ship had changed. It wasn't the carefree haven that I'd love anymore, and as sensible as Malvina's rules were, I wasn't up to living under them. We parted on good but sad terms, and as you'd expect, we drifted apart over the years. It's funny. I hadn't even thought of Malvina or the sinking ship in years. Not until I decided to teach you or your previous lesson. It all came flooding back. She pauses, turns to you. As the story is finished, but I wanna circle back to the lesson that I gave you up front, because it's important. We need Auntie Jane to bring us work, that's obvious. But we also need her to keep us honest. To be sure that we, on the team, are playing straight with one another. Auntie Cheng's reputation rides on the legitimacy of the jobs that she brings us, and that, more than anything, is why we need her. If we didn't have Auntie Cheng or someone like her, we'd eventually tear ourselves apart. It happened on the sinking ship. It could happen again in hell. So anyway, that's the lesson. If you've got follow-up questions, go ahead and ask them. What did Melvina do with the shiny object? Well, first she used it to get rid of the things that Chewie had to get let loose. Then she put it away for safekeeping. It's probably still there on the sinking ship, and scorned in some shrine or another, held under lock and key. At least she's keeping it safe. She shrugs. I'd have preferred if she'd ditched the thing, but in the end, that wasn't my choice to make. From what I've heard, she's still in power over there, so I guess that it worked out okay. And Tsui? That walking colostomy bag was already dead, hidden by his own monsters after I took the shiny object away. Turns out, he wasn't much good at controlling them without it. Her voice fills with grim satisfaction. He didn't even live long enough to watch his mutiny fail. Thanks. Sure, and Seattle, thanks for listening. These lessons are for your benefit, but I think that they help me too. It's nice to be taken seriously every now and again. No problem, Gobbet. I'll look forward to the next one. Me too. Now get a move on. I got Gobbet things to do. As you enter Gobbet's cabin, two things grab your attention. The first is Gobbet herself. She looks exhausted, bleary-eyed. The easy smile that you come to associate with her is nowhere to be seen. The second is what she's doing. Gobbet appears to be in the middle of a valiant attempt to stuff a whole roasted duck into a saucepan half its size. The bird's rubbery neck flops from side to side with every heave of her shoulders. She looks up from the saucepan, blinking. The corner of her mouth twitches upward, but the half-smile falls away almost immediately. Oh, hi Seattle. Caught me at a bad time, I was just making dinner. I've been watching the struggle. Looks like the duck is winning. She blinks down at the duck and her mouth dips into a frown. Oh, it isn't winning. It's just being stubborn. I'll make it fit, don't you worry. She gives the bird another heave. Something gives way with an inaudible crunch. It'd be easier with a bigger pot. I'd have to wash it first though. She glances down at the piles of dirty clothes and assorted detritus on the floor of her cabin, frowning. Not to do that, I'd have to find it. Anyway, you, want something? I'm up to my elbows in mallard. Hey, you feeling okay? You don't look well. She rubs the bridge of her nose with a pair of greasy fingers, leaving smudges of duck fat behind. It's weird. Ever since our last lesson, I felt, I don't know, preoccupied with the sinking ship. I don't really do the whole haunted by the demons of the past thing. I mean, that's fine for some people, but I'm allergic to drama. Generally, when thoughts of the past get me down, I remind myself that it doesn't matter, laugh it off and go have a snack. But this, I don't know. It's weird. Ever since our last lesson, I haven't been able to get the sinking ship out of my mind. She looks down at the pot full of mangled duck on the counter, closes her eyes. Guess I'm just worried about Cat and Mal. Which is weird because why would I be? I mean, I haven't even spoken to them in years. Hell, if anything, they should be worried about me. I'm the one who gets shot at for a living. Maybe we should go check it out. Sinking ship isn't far, is it? No, no. I don't want to do that. At least, not without a good reason. It'd be awkward. I'm sure that it's nothing anyway. Actually, check that. I know what this is. It's my own personal version of the same thing that we're all feeling. The psychic sewage that's being dredged up in all of us by whatever's happening in the whole city. I'm sure that you had some flashes of memory from the Barrens in your own bad dreams, right? Images from your past come back to haunt you, but you aren't gonna drop everything and go running back there because that would be dumb. So tell me, why should I? Because the sinking ship is like 15 minutes from here. Couldn't hurt to check. Look, I don't want to go back there if I don't have to. If thinking about the place is enough to mess with me like this, I don't want to know what being there will do. But I'll tell you what, I'll drop Malvina a line just to check in. Make sure this is a me problem and not a them problem. And if there is something going on, I promise you'll be the first to know. Alright, Cupboard, if that's the way you want to play it. It is. Now, is there anything else that you wanted, or can I get back to my duck? Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure, and Seattle, everything will be fine, you'll see. If there is anything fishy happening on the sinking ship, you and Liz will be the first to know, I promise. Hey Seattle, I'm not really... No. Well, we are definitely ready for a mission. We have 2 missions left. Might be able to get more. I mean, what's the point of this guy in underground? There were additional people added to some of the clubs and things like that. Maybe we should talk to these. Seems like you have to do missions to progress these conversations. Anything new? I don't see anything new. Any new messages? Hey Uncle Bob, I was able to cut out the proprietary bits of the files we recovered that were up to Negan. But there was a lot of junk data none of the buyers wanted. I've decided to archive the leftover paperwork, requisition orders, etc. Nothing special, but I figured I'd keep it on hand. Okay. Looking for Decker. Had this. Ooh. Weren't you just looking for a Decker a little while back? I saw your ad, but I was wrapping up a one-time run with an old partner who's moved away. I'd be interested in meeting. Isn't Muffin Top Ninja your physical ad? Did someone call my name? Hey, MTN. Long time no see. Long time no beer. We gotta catch up, Sensei. Bring me on as your decker. I guess the kid who answered your last ad didn't work out. Ugh, that's an understatement. I think we can count on you to not consume any drugs during runs. Most specifically drugs that were part of the payload. Fatal experimental drugs that were part of the payload. Ouch. That's not even a rookie error, it's just lack of common sense. Real shame that. Anyway, I'm glad you are on board runs. We're not going to have a problem with you. Okay, want to trade eyes. I acquired a huge supply of cutting-edge cybernetic eyes. My fins did a runner, so I've got eyes up to my eyeballs, as it were. Make me an offer. They've got the whole 9 yards. 2010 vision, camera, low light, thermographic modes. One size fits all. Sold in pairs only. Box said. Colors: brown, blue, violet, hazel, green, green flecked with gold chrome. And you've got to install them yourself. Trade you a Ranger Arms SM3. Comes with a matching briefcase. Deal. Message me. Can I swap out my old cyber eyes for a new set? Seriously, anything but that. Can I buy one blue and one brown? No, but you can buy 2 pairs. Sheesh. Okay. Uncle Tse's House of Pork. If anybody ever has the hankering to go to Uncle Tse's House of Pork in Tai-O, I can only say one thing. For the love of all that is holy, don't. I haven't been able to leave my house in 2 days. The only reason I can even pose here is because of the RAS override on my deck. What did you eat? Maybe you were just unlucky. All I had were some shumai and ribs. That's pretty basics and hard to mess up. Unlucky is when I get a bad orange at the market. This isn't unlucky. This is something else. This is some kind of vile gastrointestinal sorcery. Oh my god, I only ate there once. Once. Still have nightmares. It felt like I'd eaten a wasp nest. If the wasps were made of rusty razors and also on fire. I thought I was being clever by getting the pulled pork sandwich when I ate there. Nope. Aside from basically being a pile of congealed sludge and the bread being moldy, it was a week before I could hold down anything more solid than congee. What? What are you all, a bunch of children? Yeah, the kitchen is dirty, but I've eaten there dozens of times, and not once I've gotten sick. Grow up and learn to eat adult food. Wait a second. Aren't you the person who was raving about that food cart on the corner of Kimberly and Observatory? You told me to get the yuzu glazed horse tripe. Yeah? How did you like it? Pretty good, huh? If by good you mean the consistency of tar and old tires, yes. The tripe must have been a week or more old, and I'm pretty sure I smelled rot once the initial citrus blast wore off. Take note, this user's advice on food is not to be trusted. Oh god, reading that actually got me pushed past the RAS override. Now my deck is covered in vomit. Thanks guys, I mean it. Nothing I love more than being sick and disgusting. Okay, Walled City embezzlement history. Isabel. I'm uploading another Walled City report. This one old, from just after they built it. I ended up digging into the history of the place. It's just archival plaintext. Tang Mechanical Services was again accused in a joint lawsuit headed by Wuxing of embezzling hundreds of millions of yuan during the construction of the Walled City low-income housing project. Plaintiff filed an official complaint on Monday, stating that the construction contractors had been heavily pressured by Chang to use cheap construction techniques, while kickbacks, graft, and misrouting of funds caused several hundred million yuan to vanish. Chang's legal team strenuously objected to the accusation, citing the lack of proof and the corporation's own damaged fortunes. Legal team spokesman Lee Kushan had this to say: "The Walled City contract was a disaster for my client. The project was sabotaged at every turn by union activists and competing corporations. TMS struggled heroically to complete the project despite this interference. These parties have now added insult to injury by fabricating charges of malfeasance based on the very obstacles they themselves created. This has truly become theater of the absurd." Is it true? According to Consolidated Press financial analyst Gertrude Schoen, it seems unlikely. Chang has struggled financially since the Wall City project. Chang's stock is trading at around 40% of its peak, which it reached just after receiving the Wall City contract 4 years ago. Although investigators have indicated there is evidence of possible misconduct, no misappropriated funds have been found, and CEO Josephine Chang recently sold her Victoria Big estate, citing financial difficulties. If TMS or the Chang family have benefited from the Walled City funds, they're not showing it. Mrs. Chang could not be reached for comment. Huh? I always thought the Chang rocketed to success on the back of the Walled City. They sure trumpeted that in their PR. Yep, it's a brilliant piece of historical revisionism. Walled City was a huge loss of face at the time, but they rebranded the whole fiasco over the last couple of decades. Maybe their underbidding made them seem like a real sucker and brought in the contracts. Isabel, I find the fact that you posted a financial article to be charming. White Prism, did you just hit on Isabel? Amanita's gonna skin you. No, that's just VP. He's incapable of flirting. Would you date a woman named Amanita and then try to charm someone else on the BBS? WP is just an aggro mentat with a poor social filter. You two must have an interesting relationship. Let's just say we radically complement each other. Typhoon stalled offshore. Update on Typhoon Usagi. Infrared images of the storm eye to wall transition are really quite stunning, by the way. Typhoon Usagi has stalled in the South China Sea and is now weakening after passing north of the Philippines. Strong wind and periodic heavy rains will continue as Usagi arms sweep across the region. For the moment, Usagi is resisting the wind, which is causing it to lose strength. Prevailing winds will probably ultimately drive Usagi ashore west of Macau as it struggles to remain over water. According to Dr. Lance Inroki of the Imperial Japanese Meteorological Agency, even the most awakened storms have difficulty delaying their landfall for more than a week once they are in the South China Sea. Usagi will still be a full-strength typhoon when it makes landfall, but its delay fortunately gives people in the storm path more time to prepare. Look babe, I just made this cartoonified typhoon for you. It just got a little purse and sparkles and bubble tea and 8 arms with assorted weapons and a necklace of skulls and everything. You're the best. The shape-up team on the ammunition belts really takes it over the top, Amanita. You are a special person. Okay. Tang Mechanical Services. Has anyone else been keeping track of the Executive Council elections? It's almost time for the latest round and the competition is heating up. Up until this point, Tantien CEO Sao Kok Chu looked like the best pick to replace Josephine Chang of the Tang Mechanical Services. Despite Wuxing CEO Ken Zhuling's rivalry with Chu, he had the support of both Yang Ling Fat of Shibata and Adrian Chung of Heidelbrand Kleinfort Brno. Now, though I'm not sure, Josephine Chang seems pretty confident that she'll remain on the council. From what I've heard, she's got a deal with Eris Asia, Munobe, and Eastern Tiger to stay out of their way in exchange. They let her own Southeast Asia large-scale construction project. A cozy relationship like that could turn the tides against Tan Tien. First image of Josephine Chang. Her screen flickers as a treat clip begins playing. Josephine Chang stands at a podium addressing a crowd of reporters in front of a partially constructed skyscraper. With the finalization permits approved to the Park Thai Workers Complex here in Dongguan, I promise you that the prosperity of the city can only increase. This marks an auspicious day. Thousands of new jobs in construction, tens of thousands more when the project is complete, and low-cost housing for every worker. Some have said Zhang Mechanical Services does not have the will to compete in a global market, that we are only a force to be reckoned with in Hong Kong, Africa, and South America. I say that our good fortune is your good fortune. Chang pounds the podium with a closed fist, nodding for emphasis. Chang Mechanical Services is more than a local company. Our star is rising and shows no sign of slowing. I ask the residents of Dongguan, who among you does not wish for a better life, a wealthier, happier life? One where your company is also your family, and can protect you from the uncertainty of these trying times. We will give you that life. We will give you that protection and certainty. What a load of utter crap. Maybe crap, but the people in Dongguan ate it up. The idea of signing with a local company that isn't by who, and believe me, they count Tan Tien and Wuxing as foreign, was too much of a draw for them to pass on. I'm thinking that absent catastrophe, Josephine Chang will be on the Executive Council in the next few days. Why do they count Wuxing as foreign? Tan Tien, sure, they're headquartered in Beijing, but Wuxing's just a native as Hong Kong as Chang is. Wuxing and the Canton Confederation have been at odds since 2015. Wuxing's made a habit of exploiting the people of Guangdong and using loopholes to shield themselves from taxation. What's more, Wuxing has the primary mover in founding the Free Enterprise Zone, permanently stopping the Confederation's design of Hong Kong. Thanks took a different tactic. Josephine Chang started out by promising the Canton Confederation a very lucrative taxation agreement in exchange for a low-cost long-term lease for their facilities in Dongguan. She sweetened the deal by treating them like family rather than adversaries. She got them eating out of her hand. Ugh, there's quite a lot of these. Okay, looking for Decker. Looking for an experienced Decker for a discreet milk run. Okay, it's the same goddamn announcement for the third time. Knock knock. You said a good sense of humor. It's a joke, see? At this point, we're actually more interested in hiring an experienced professional with a mature adult impulse control. We've had some bad luck with our deckers lately. The last one had 2 left feet and couldn't seem to stop stumbling into containers full of volatile substances. Yeah, poor run switch scissors. Although, by looking at her name, I guess we should have known. So basically, you guys are desperate for a decker. Has no one else contacted you? We can wait a little longer. Meet me. You guys are starting to get a bad rep, you know. Jinx. Okay, there was another one. Looking for a Decker. Ah, yeah, it's the same message. Okay, you must not take experimental steams during runs. You must not tamper with the chemicals in secret labs. You must know how to properly operate a moped. You must have good sense of humor. Okay, I'm new in town. Did a lot of good work throughout Guangdong, but I had a lot of Taiwanese connections and it got a little uncomfortable. Plus, I may have hacked a Confederation server and cracked it wide open temporarily for a matrix free for all as a cover while I quietly deleted selective intelligence files. Impressive. And you know how to ride a moped, right? Uh, yes. Why do you ask? Well, just mopeds were a part of our last plan, and well, our last ticker apparently had not a clue. Went off a residential road near Peak. Not pretty. You're not the kind of person to experiment with substances during runs, right? And you can walk without falling, yes? These are some crazy interview questions. Are you serious? Very. Let's talk about this face to face, okay? Yeah, it seems maybe they're stretching the truth quite a bit. Okay, Decker are looking for a team. Hey, it's the same thing. New. You must have good. No. You must listen to your Decker when your Decker says, "I don't have control of that turret yet." Okay. Hey, what happened to gimme some new N? I recognize this ad. It's his boilerplate. His team was always looking for a new Decker. What the hell happened? You see that fourth item on the requirements list? Shit, that's nuts. Are all of them gone? Muffin Top Ninja, Captain Scone? All of them, even Explodey Sue. I hardly got to know them, but they were good people. What a terrible loss. You had no idea who you were running the shadows with, huh? Explodey was a great war hero, tough as nails. Could have tipped the scales for Taiwan if she hadn't knocked herself out with the force of her own mana blast at a crucial moment. No shit. It gets better. Muffin Top Ninja was one of the most revered martial artist masters in the JIS until his health began to fail. He was well known for his self-deprecating humor, and Gimme Some Nguyen was a great philanthropist. Every credit he earned, he poured back into helping the indigent population of the walled city, where he grew up. And Captain Skull? I kind of chuckled at his name, but now I'm thinking there's something more to it. I'll say, he was a Scottish separatist who campaigned tirelessly for the restoration of his country. When his activism drew too many enemies, he fled and became a pillar of the Scottish expatriate community in Hong Kong. As for his name, I think Stone of Scone? Among amazing people, just couldn't catch a break, and now this? Rest in peace. I'm mortified. I wish I had gotten to know them better. I wish I had gotten that turret down faster. It's like you knew them very well then. I suppose so. I'm a dicker who responded to one of their first ads. My God said not to join them, but we developed a lot of mutual respect over the years. I never thought I'd live to see one of their dickers live. Well, although it would take two dickers, I don't suppose you'd like to team up? I don't think so, no. Okay. There's quite a lot of these. I think that's enough for now. I'm going after Isabel's jobs. Head to DECCON 2056 for Isabel's job. I suppose we could go around, see if something new has popped up somewhere. New people, maybe. Okay. We're going after some kind of a program. Something that's supposed to aid us with our primary mission too. I want to do it first, before the other mission we still have lined up, because there might be some kind of delay before anything can come out of it.